Alright, so today I want to do a video a little bit different. I want to give you more of a vlog style video, kind of a day in the life of a snake breeder. Kind of wanted to show you some things with my snakes. Maybe we can peek in, see if we have any snake eggs. Maybe show you some of my rodents, and I also want to give you an update on my reticulated python. And I also want to share some tragic news. As a matter of fact, I actually raised cattle, and I had two big black Angus bulls. One of them actually passed away today unexpectedly, and it's kind of interesting as you're trying to deal with a really big animal like that. She was about 2,500 pounds, and you know, if something like that passes away, you have a problem trying to get rid of that thing. As a matter of fact, I actually called a service and they came and picked it up with this truck, and I didn't really include any videos of them actually taking it away. I didn't really want to put any of that on YouTube, but let me tell you, it was a huge challenge. The guy had a winch and a truck, and that bull weighed about 2,500 pounds. I was dealing with that nightmare today. It was terrible. But I kind of want to show you what I have going on in my snake room, and then I want to bring you out in the barnyard and show you some of the cows that I have left. As a matter of fact, I'll show you the other bull that is still going strong, and the other one was actually just as big as this one. You can actually get an idea how big that bull was. And let me tell you, if something like that unexpectedly passes away, it can be a real challenge to actually deal with that, and that's what I was going through today. So I want to jump over, and I thought I'd kind of start with some snake eggs. I have some females that are looking really big. I haven't actually checked on them tonight. We can go over and check and see if we have the first snake eggs of the year. Alright, so I thought I'd do a little egg hunting here, looking for ball python eggs to try to cheer me up from such a rough day from that crazy bull falling over. And I'm going to start with my pastel calico. I'm hoping to actually see some eggs. The funny thing is a lot of these snakes, you know, last year I was actually getting eggs about a month and a half earlier than today. So it was kind of weird. Last year it was really early, and I still don't have any eggs. I'm thinking, you know, this is actually my pastel calico, and she definitely looks like she has some eggs in her. She just hasn't laid any eggs, which is kind of driving me batty. Hopefully I'll actually get some ball python eggs this year. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of making me nervous that nothing is laid yet. This is a pinstripe, and she is really super big. Looks like she will definitely lay some eggs, just a little bit lagging behind. There's two more snakes over here I wanted to check on, and those are my het caramel albinos. Both of these are really big. And this one, I thought for sure the other day she was actually going to lay some eggs, and she is looking really big. Look at how big she is. So big. The girl like this could probably lay like 15 eggs. And as a matter of fact, I was looking at her tail. It almost looks, I don't know if you can see it now, but at the very end of her tail, it looks like she had an egg almost ready to just pop right out. She's so close. I still can't believe I don't have any eggs this year. So I actually have a couple more down here I want to check on. This one has been bowl wrapping, which usually they kind of bowl wrap before they go back on the hot spot and lay the eggs. So this is a little premature. She's been bowl wrapping for like, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then I have one more down here I want to check on this girl. This is my big pastel pinstripe female. I have some other ones that are gonna lay, but probably not as soon as these. Look at how big this one is. She is super big. Still no eggs in my snake room. Alright, so all these racks on the left, these are all full of ball pythons, and the ones in front of me, these are actually my breeder females, and I have a reticulated python in there, but all these over here, these are actually my rodents. And these rodents, I've actually kind of changed them, and I absolutely love how I kind of changed things up. So essentially what I did is I freed up a lot of tubs. So over here, I have 2 rows on the bottom with no rodents in at all, and I have a few on this one with kind of empty labels where I don't have any rodents at all. Hopefully I don't have any in this one that's kind of sticking out a little bit. Don't want them to get away. That would be a nightmare. And then essentially what I did is I really reduced the number of rodents in each tub. So what I've actually been doing is this is pretty much the maximum. I have 2 females and 1 male in a tub of this size. This is kind of like a breeder tub. And I'm pretty much cut back to where I'm actually doing just 1 male and 1 female, and it stays clean a lot lot longer, let me tell you. It is really nice. I really love it. And if it gets too crowded, if the babies start, you know, getting too big, I can move them to the empty tubs and kind of leapfrog them, and it really works really well to not really overfill your rodent tubs. And if you're actually thinking about breeding rodents out, I recommend getting more tubs than you think you'll use, and then just keep some of them empty, and it really helps to organize your rodents. Alright, so I also wanted to give you a quick update on Lucy, my reticulated python. Let's see if I can open this and see if I can keep her under control. Sometimes she's in a kind of a crazed feeding mode. She's got a little bit of humidity building up on the glass, and usually if I turn the lights up, she knows to go into a feeding mode. So I really don't want her to think I'm actually giving her a rat right now. She's kind of looking like, hey, where's my rat? You turned up the lights. And she's a really beautiful snake. She's actually a white albino reticulated python. She weighs about 85 pounds. She is a monster. And the interesting thing is, kind of one of the new things that I've learned on the reticulated pythons in an enclosure like this, I actually use the coconut husk substrate, like a cocoa chip, and she was actually starting to push on the coconut husk, on the enclosure, trying to get out. And a lot of times reticulated pythons, if they're not happy, if the temperature's not right or something is incorrect, they will actually push and completely mess up their face. So I noticed she was actually pushing quite a bit, and what I've actually found is that if the coconut husk gets a little bit too old, this reticulated python does not like it. It's like pretty much a limit of 2 to 3 weeks, and then she starts pushing on the glass. And I actually got in here the other day and I actually kept her in the enclosure and actually changed out the coconut husk while she was still in there. I was kind of like pulling the substrate all from around her, and she does not want me to touch her. She is bucking. She's a little bit grumpy today. But essentially what I did is I went in and I just pulled out all the coconut husk all around her and just kind of moved it around, pulled it all out, and then I put new coconut husk right in without actually, doing a full deep clean on this enclosure, and she immediately stopped pushing on the glass trying to get out. So I thought that was kind of interesting. If you have a retic or if you have a snake that's pushing on the enclosure, you may think about actually changing out the coconut husk, and that could be a reason why they're pushing. As a matter of fact, with reticulated pythons, if you have the temperature too low, they can push, and if you have the temperature too high, they can push out. It's kind of interesting. You have to have the temperature dialed in just right for reticulated pythons. And look at how tense she is. I don't know what she's doing. She just does not want to be messed with. She needs to relax. She is a really big snake, though. She's I've had her since she was a little tiny hatchling. And as a matter of fact, when I got her, she was probably about as big as the smallest part of her tail. She's really super small, and she's grown so much. She's actually 50% dwarf, 50% Jampea dwarf from the island of Jampea. So I don't think she'll get too much bigger than, I'd say maybe maximum, maybe 100 pounds. But if you have a full mainland retic, they can get, I've actually seen them over 300 pounds, which is really crazy. But she is a really beautiful snake. And I finally figured out another way to keep her from pushing by keeping the substrate fresh, keeping it new, and just don't let it age too much. If they actually start pushing, usually a lot of people say especially for reticulated pythons, if you actually have the temperature above 80 degrees, it can actually cause them to push. So I actually have this dialed in at 78 degrees. Seems like the perfect temperature. As a matter of fact, I have 78 degrees on like a radiant heat paddle on the top, and then right underneath I have this little tiny, it's not very big, and it's actually right underneath a hot spot at 88 degrees. So if she gets a little too cold, she can come over here and kind of huddle on the hot spot, and that heat panel goes all the way back. So this is kind of the hotter side, and then if she wants to cool off, she can still be under the heat panel at 78 over on the right, and then can still be at the perfect 78 degrees. I actually went down to about 72, and she started pushing like crazy, wanted to get out of there, and I actually looked it up on the internet. They said you really shouldn't go below 78 for reticulated pythons. All right, so today was a really sad day. I lost one of my bulls. One of my bulls died. Actually, I used to have two of them before today, and actually the other one was as big as this one. Look at how big this bull is. As a matter of fact, the guy that came to dispose of it actually said this guy would probably, both of them probably weigh about 2,500 pounds a piece. Look at how big this guy is. And the funny thing is I actually ran out of straw. Look at how dirty it is. I definitely need to go and get some more straw so they're not in it too bad. But the problem is last fall these guys were actually kind of fighting each other over the girl. I actually have another cow way over in the back, way over there, and she's actually nursing this cow right here. I actually have a baby from this year. This is the little baby. So cute. Look at how cute the baby is. And she is probably going to have another one here maybe in a few months. That'd be pretty cool. But these guys were fighting really bad. And I didn't realize that when bulls get really big, they can do some damage to each other. And this guy actually head-butted the other one and hit him right in the back, right over here in the back, kind of in the hip area. And this guy's pretty tame. The other guy's pretty tame too. He's not too bad. And actually, when he hit the other bull was limping around last fall, and I actually separated him and had him completely separate all winter long. And that just got worse and worse and worse until he could hardly even get to the water or the food. And then actually just the last few days he started having bloody diarrhea, and I was thinking maybe he broke a hip in the back over here, and I was thinking maybe it actually punctured like an intestine or something, and that's probably what did him in. It was really sad. As a matter of fact, the bull fell over and just kind of died this morning. He was so heavy I couldn't even roll him. This is so incredibly heavy. As a matter of fact, the guy that came pick him up, and he actually had a truck with a lift, one of those tilt lifts, and then a winch, and he could almost barely, as a matter of fact, he broke his ramp trying to get that bull up in his truck. It cost quite a bit to actually have him haul that away. And you know, actually these are beef cows, and I just kind of keep them as pets, and I haven't really actually processed one yet. These guys, they're really friendly. It's really awesome having a really big cow like this. Super friendly. Look how big he is. Super friendly big bull. This is actually T-Bone. His name's T-Bone. The other one was named Anubis. Really awesome animals.